Hello from Becky and me. The weekend is here. Welcome to Friday's programme.
Now, for football fans, the wait is finally over. The opening ceremony was this afternoon. And for pubs, supermarkets and other businesses across the region, the World Cup sparks a frenzy of spending, bringing in millions of pounds.
Our emergency services are also bracing themselves, though. Police are drafting in extra officers and preparing for a surge in alcohol-related violence and a possible increase in drink driving and domestic abuse as well.
Well, our correspondent Emma Baker joins us live now from Mildenhall in Suffolk, where a team from the US Air Base are playing a local side ahead of the England-America game tomorrow. Emma, it's more than just a game of football, isn't it?
Oh, Becky, this is so much more than just a game of football, I can tell you. Welcome to RAF Mildenhall, the American Air Force Base here in Suffolk, where we've been watching an incredibly tense match. Currently on half-time, you can see the two teams there behind me, local Mildenhall team versus the US soccer team. Now, the score at the moment is 3-0 to England, so not so good for the US. I think you can see pictures of the first goal that was scored very early on by Jason Moore there for the local England team. Very exciting indeed. Let's just take a quick look. We've got the England supporters there. Give us a cheer. There we go. Exciting here. And we've got the American, rather more American supporters here. Give us a cheer, American supporters. There we go. Always getting exciting. OK, so while we're in second half, just to remind you, of course, there's so many more than just England fans here in our region, as my colleague Natalie Gray has been finding out.
So the World Cup's underway, and for these Mexican students from the University of East Anglia, a chance to cheer on their side in the opening match against South Africa. The big screen at the Castlegates pub in Norwich, the venue.
I have a lot of hope because we have a good team, we have young people that can do very well. So yes, I have great expectations.
England flags are everywhere. They flutter on cars and vans, are draped from the windows of homes and pubs, and in Walpole Road in Great Yarmouth, bunting bedecks the street. It's the same 4 roads up in Garfield Road, where at one house even the flowers are in England's colours. Neil, there is so much England stuff adorning your house you can't actually see out of your windows. No. Are you that big a fan?
Well, yeah, I like to think so. Every 4 years we've certainly got to really go for it. Take the chance that one of these years it's going to come off and we're actually going to win it.
The World Cup is expected to give the UK economy a boost of more than £1.5 billion. 50% more lager flew off the supermarket shelves 4 years ago, and we could be drinking 211 million extra beers this time. At the Carlsberg Brewery in Northampton, they're bracing themselves for the rush.
It's like 7 bank holidays if England get through each game. So we're expecting huge uplifts. If you look at our brewery here, we're working every hour to just fulfil the demand in the market.
Supermarkets predict tomorrow could be as busy as Christmas as consumers stock up on World Cup essentials like beer, England ice cream and biscuits, and other paraphernalia. Eh, Janice? The England flag is emblazoned on everything at this Asda store in Yarmouth, from garden gnomes to babies' dummies.
We must have about 300 different items for England, what we're selling, pretty fast as well. So it's flying out, literally.
Police forces across the region have been issuing warnings on possible rises in domestic abuse and drink driving, as well as football-related violence. In the Bedfordshire control room, they'll be coordinating the extra officers on duty for major games.
We're looking at things like big screen events, working with all the publicans to make sure that there's no irresponsible promotions of alcohol when the matches are on, and making sure we get a safe as possible environment for everybody so actually do enjoy the tournament, can go out, can watch the games, have a few drinks and go home hopefully happier.
People in Cambridge have been telling us how they are planning to watch it all.
I think I'm going to be sort of spending a lot of time at this, sort of on the sofa.
Well, we both work in bars, so I'm not looking forward to the rabble coming in and causing all sorts of problems.
I don't know much about it, but people get excited and I get excited too.
Probably not watching it. Time to sort of all get together and have a big party and enjoy the football.
It's a giant event, all right, and for the next 4 weeks, prepare to... Well, this baby's bib says it all, really. Natalie Gray, Anglia News.
Well, I know what Becky will be wearing for the next month. Now, back to Emma, of course. The World Cup, certainly big business, Emma. But where you are, of course, it's pride at stake.
They're taking this so seriously, I have to say, Wilsey. It's going to be a friendly match. Oh, I think we're going to get a goal. Oh, no, it wasn't a goal. It was a miss. What a goal to the USA. Oh, this is all live television in action. You've got to love it. Now, the current score is 3-1. 3-1 to England. We will, of course, bring you the full score and the highlight of the goals. I think you missed the goal earlier on. We'll bring you all the highlights of the goals later on in the programme, where we will, of course, also have the final whistle.
OK, look forward to seeing you later. In other news, 2 teenagers have been found guilty of a gangland-style killing in Luton.
Richard Long from Houghton Regis was shot dead on the Lucy Farm estate last September when he went to purchase a kilo of cannabis.
18-year-old Simeon Jackson and a 19-year-old boy, only known as M, were today found guilty of his murder at Luton Crown Court. And joining us from there is Lorna Ramsey. Lorna, a dramatic day in court.
Yes, it's been a long trial and the jury has taken 4 days to consider its verdicts. There were tears and cries of yes from Richard Long's family when the verdicts were read out. The jury found Simeon Johnson and another teenager, who we can only refer to as M, unanimously guilty of murder. These are some of the last moments of Richard Long's life captured on CCTV. He was, according to his widow, a victim of Luton's growing gang and gun culture. Long had hoped to buy drugs. Instead, he paid with his life. Shot through the head in a deal that turned sour on the Lucy Farm estate last September.
They were wearing his death as a badge of honour. They were bragging around to their friends, to my friends, how they'd put a Houghton boy down, how it was 1-0 for one of their boys that was killed years ago, how you know, big and clever they are for doing this. I don't think they're laughing now.
Today, 18-year-old Simeon Johnson, who was 17 at the time, and a 19-year-old referred to in court only as M, were both found guilty of his murder. Richard Long had come to Lucy Farm with £6,000 in cash to buy a kilo of potent cannabis known as skunk from them. CCTV images captured the rendezvous near a parade of shops. But there was no drug deal. Instead, Johnson and M planned to rob him at gunpoint. When the gun was produced, Richard Long ran off. Johnson and M chased him to this playground. It's thought he tripped over a fence, and it was while he was lying on the ground that Johnson shot him through the head.
Richard Long was clearly in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that he was against 2 individuals that were organised, that have supplied drugs in the past and have used firearms.
The gangland-style killing of Richard Long near a children's playground at 8 o'clock at night has shocked people living nearby.
I do worry about my boy when he goes out to play, whether he's going to be coming home okay, knowing that youths are walking around with weapons.
When I go home, my wife said, don't do business anymore that you're not safe. But I said, look, this could be happen anywhere, but then I carry on as normal.
You do have debates about it, and it was very, very scary.
The 2 teenage killers had all the trappings of a drug dealer's lifestyle. Designer clothes and fast cars. They even posed for photographs holding a gun. But Johnson and M's future is now behind bars.
Well, one of the verdicts welcomed by Richard Long's family and also presumably by the police as well this evening.
Yes, detectives have told me how difficult it was to collect evidence in this case because of the intimidation that naturally surrounds gangland-style killings such as this one. But the police and Richard Long's family were keen to praise the witnesses who did come forward and help put these 2 men behind bars. They'll be sentenced here at Luton Crown Court on June the 25th.
Lorna, thanks very much. Well, still